What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Comically Boston. Today's episode 101. We are going to be talking about the Loki Season 2 coming up Thursday, but mainly the main topic of today's video is Ahsoka's Part 8 season finale. So stay tuned to the end of this video to talk about that. Real quick, we're going to talk about a little bit of news things that came out yesterday. Peacemaker Season 2 got confirmed by James Gunn the other day. I thought Season 1 was great. John Cena in the role was unbelievable. It was super funny and at the same time had like a pretty good story, but was like ridiculously funny. You know, like it wasn't your normal comedy, it wasn't your normal superhero thing. It did things that were super unexpected. You know what I mean? Like if there was one show that I couldn't see where it was going, it was Peacemaker Season 1. And the word is on Peacemaker Season 2 is that he is currently writing Peacemaker Season 2. He obviously isn't shooting Superman, so obviously maybe this gets sped up a little bit because he was probably going to write this Peacemaker Season 2 after Superman, I would have guessed, you know, if he was working full-time on Superman. So right now he must be able to write again because the writer strike's up, the SAG strike's still going on, so he's maybe able to write again but not able to cast or direct. Either way, it is said that Season 2 will address that Season 1 is not a part of the DCU going forward, was a part of the old DCEU. And will also like make it so that Season 2 is a part of the DCU. So I don't know how he's going to do it, but if anyone can, it's James Gunn. He's a fantastic writer in my eyes. So there's that. Comment below if you're excited for more Peacemaker. Todd Phillips released an image from Joker 2 the other day of Joaquin Phoenix's Joker in the streets and it's raining. Everyone's got umbrellas, but he's just standing there letting it come down on him. And it said, and he kind of like gave a little teaser quote, more to come soon. So maybe there's a Joker 2 trailer or a teaser that's coming out soon, but I can't wait for the Joker 2. Joker 1 was amazing, so the only thing about Joker 2 that I'm kind of hesitant on is that it might be a musical, considering Lady Gaga's in it. I don't know. If they put that violin from the first movie into the second movie and they kind of use that same score again, I won't be mad because that first score in that movie was unbelievable. Loki Season 2 Thursday. I'm so excited. Ki-Hu Kwan is going to be playing OB and he'll be there, and this is kind of like our quadruple, what is 4 people? I don't know. Our foursome. It will be Key as OB, you'll have Hunter B-15, you'll have Tom Hiddleston's Loki, Owen Wilson, Mobius, and, you know, they look like they're gotta save the timeline. So I have no idea what Season 2 will be about. I know I loved Season 1, so Season 2 can tell its own story and take us on a little ride. I'm so excited for Ki-Hu Kwan. He's just been, you know, one of those breakout actors of the last couple of years from, you know, I mean, obviously he was Short Round years ago, but he's kind of had like a resurgence, and I love to see him getting work. I think he's the funniest, nicest dude, and, you know, I'm just happy to see him getting some work, and also, you know, going to be in Loki Season 2 and have a pretty big role, I think. And he celebrated his birthday on set of Loki, and here's a little picture of them giving him birthday cards and with the whole cast, and, you know, just seeing him and Tom Hiddleston next to each other, they must have been such a fun set. They look like they were having such a good time. But comment below, what are your biggest questions from Season 1 heading into Season 2 of Loki? We'll be talking about Loki on Friday. Oof. Can't wait for that. Oh my god, it's tomorrow and it's here. Oh my god, that's amazing. So Loki Season 2 right around the corner, but rounding out, coming into home, the season finale of Ahsoka, Episode 8, the Jedi, the Witch, and the Warlord, which is probably what, a Narnia nod, the Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. So, you know, I didn't really get much Narnia vibes from this, but this season finale I thought was a good episode, but there's a couple of things, right? It didn't come, like, coming off of Episode 7 into Episode 8, it didn't feel like we were sprinting a mad dash to the finish line, you know what I mean? It kind of felt like we were already downshifting, you know what I mean, coming to a stop. And, you know, it feels more like a season 1 ending, and that this story is not done, and that it's going to be told more into a season 2. But we don't know that, so we're all just speculating that there's going to be an Ahsoka season 2. I need a little bit of confirmation, because if they confirm a season 2 and then tell us what's the deal with BAYLEN, because like if that's the last time I see BAYLEN, I won't be mad at Ray Stevenson, because I thought he did a phenomenal job. But if that's the last thing we get at all, you know, I'm pretty upset. So I'm also curious, maybe was there a different ending, and then this is what they kind of did for Ray Stevenson, and they kind of just gave him this god standing on a side of a cliff, and that whole part, we'll get into it in a little bit, but that whole part where he's standing there looked great. It has to be maybe not in the volume, and maybe, you know, an actual set, and they, you know, still use some CGI and VFX in the background to make the gods of Mortis, but like maybe Ray Stevenson was on a cliff somewhere, actually having wind blowing on him. He had like this wolf over his shoulder, and he didn't have before, so like he killed one of those howlers. I don't know. I would like to know. Maybe it felt like something was missing there, so I truthfully think BAYLEN was my favorite character in the show, and I would be pissed if that was the last I got to see with him. But, you know, we open this episode on the Chimera. Thrawn sends 2 fighters after the Jedi, and that doesn't end great, but we'll get to that in a second. The Night Mothers reward Morgan Elsmith with Mother Talzin's blade, which is super cool to see, you know, the green fire on the blade and like the magic they used on her to make her more Night Sistery. In, you know, we obviously saw the same flaming blade get in Clone Wars. So Mother Talzin was a pretty big character over there for the Night Sisters. So obviously Mother Talzin isn't around anymore, I don't think, but her blade is, so that's pretty cool. Morgan gets Talzin's blade, then we cut to the title, The Jedi, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, and then we cut to the good guys, right? So the first 5 minutes of, or 5 or 6 minutes of bad guys to start this season finale episode was pretty great. Then the next couple minutes was pretty great as well, and then they kind of lose something along the way, but I'll talk about it more in a second. But Ezra's building a lightsaber. He's frantically throwing pieces, and he's, you know, oh, this is too small, and what kind of organization do you have in here? He's talking shit to Hu Yang, you know, so it felt very Ezra from Rebels, talking shit to a droid, doing his own thing, scatterbrain, just kind of running around. But he's building a lightsaber, just like his master, Kanan Jarrus. And then we get this little exposition dialogue from Hu Yang, which is like what this show needed more of. You know, more conversations of them just catching up and talking about shit. And I think a lot of it would be more clear and more concise, and it would have felt better, I guess, at least for me. You know, I felt like we were missing a little bit of dialogue and a little bit of, you know, telling us, catching us up, where they've been. You know, we were gone for 9 years. We still know fractionally nothing about what happened to him on Peridia and how he got away from Thrawn and how they got there. You know, like, we know that they took off, but we don't know what the landing was like, you know what I mean? Like, we only saw the takeoff. So I would have wanted to see a little bit more of that story with Ezra and Thrawn, but we still get the dialogue from Hu Yang, and Hu Yang's like, being a Jedi's master is equally challenging as it is meaningful. You know, so that's, I thought, was like clever, because, you know, he's talking to Ezra, but Sabine's in the background listening, and she kind of, you know, is thinking about it. She's like, damn, I think I really let down Ahsoka. I gotta go talk to her. So then she leaves and goes to talk to Ahsoka, but Hu Yang catches up Ezra a little bit more, and Hu Yang's like, Ezra, you know, she stopped training Sabine because she thought, and they throw this little line in, and then I was like, oh shit, so is Sabine gonna go bad? You know, and that never really came about, but like, I would have loved to see the parts that Hu Yang's talking about, like where she was training her and stopped training her because she thought she was training for the wrong reasons, where I don't know. I think it's still cool that Sabine is a Mandalorian, but now also a Jedi, confirmed at least by the Night Mothers. It reeks of Jedi in here. So seeing her actually use the Force and actually wielding a lightsaber is really cool. I do like Natalie Luberdizzo, but I didn't think her character felt deep enough. I don't know. I think the writing for her wasn't as good as it could have been. I thought, you know, when she saw Ezra, she should have been excited and ran over and hugged her. Like, she's not a stoic Jedi. Like, I know Ahsoka in her later years is a stoic, more stoic Jedi, but she even hugged Ezra in her reunion. So, like, but Ezra chooses a blue lightsaber after he finally builds it. And I have a feeling, maybe in season 2 or the movie or whatever's next, that Ezra, right, because Sabine's master is now Ahsoka, so Ahsoka can't necessarily take on a second apprentice. So I have a feeling maybe Ezra here, just like Kanan was his master, Ezra will be Jason's master. So that's very interesting. But I also loved that Hu Yang threw in, this is the same tip of the lightsaber, that there was only one other in the galaxy, and I held on to it. The other belonged to Kanan Jarrus. And then it goes on and goes, young Caleb was reckless, you know, troublesome, or, you know, and talks about Caleb, right? So we know Caleb Dune is the young version of Ezra's master, Kanan. You know, he's the name before he took Kanan, he was Caleb Doom, and this young fella right here wielding the same blue lightsaber. You know, so I love to see little details like that for people that know Rebels and know Clone Wars and stuff like that. Like, everyone else must have been confused, but I ain't mad, you know. But Hu Yang also fills Ezra in that Sabine's family died on Mandalore after the whole island, planet, whatever, the whole surface of Mandalore got bombed in the Night of 1,000 Tears that we saw a little bit of in the Mandalorian season 3. But as far as we know, as of now, Sabine's family's gone, died, so now Ezra's caught back up a little bit. But I really like Sabine's style, because, you know, she does have style. She might not be your favorite character, she might not be the best Jedi, she might not be the best Mandalorian, but she does have style, right? Like, so the two TIEs come in, shooting at them, shooting at their little turtle friends underneath the plane. Why they were flying just right above them, as slow as possible, I have no idea, but they do. And, you know, the plane comes in shooting, and Sabine fires up the plane, and just pretty much sends the ship as a battering ram at the two TIE fighters, and just boof, boof, knocks out both TIEs with the wings of the plane, and then just kind of like runs out of fuel and just crashes, like, you know, like 1,000 yards away. And they kind of run up after her, and she kind of just, bad guys don't look at explosions, turns around and kind of looks at it, keeps walking. Got him, you know, like, she's got style, but she's also like, was that the best way to do it? I don't know. That plane had guns, you could have shot him, you know, I don't know. But I did like the little, right before that, Ahsoka and Sabine were talking on the wing, and Ahsoka was like, a lot of people didn't understand the decisions I made when I had to make tough decisions, and the only person that ever stood by me was my master. And I think Sabine goes Anakin. So Sabine knows who Anakin is, but maybe she doesn't know Anakin is Darth Vader. But either way, she's like, Anakin stood by me, and I promise, as your master, I will always be there for you. So, like, now Ahsoka's really taking the master helm, you know, and being like, I'm going to be there for you. And Sabine hearing this kind of is like, oh, fuck, she's here for me. I really got to, you know, I can't let her down. I gotta do whatever I can to make sure she's fulfilled by being my master, I guess, you know, or whatever the words I'm looking for. So Thrawn sees that the ship, the two TIEs have been taken down, and goes, oh, and Ahsoka's ship's down, so we should be expecting a ground assault immediately. Prepare for it, you know. So he prepares for a strike, and then, you know, Morgan groups up the troops to be the ground assault, you know, to prepare for it. And he's like, the troops know, and they will, and Morgan goes, yes, they were very eager and willing to fight for you, Admiral Thrawn. And he goes, not for me, for the Empire, you know. So it doesn't take credit for him, you know, him being the mastermind, him being the reason they're all on the ship and the planet or whatever, and, you know, credits the Empire. So he's all about the Empire. But really, I think he's more all about himself, but at the same time, he hasn't really shown us that he's about winning himself. He's about strategy and strategically winning and winning for the Empire, I guess. But I don't know, it feels like it should be more selfish. Like he should be like, yes, you're welcome. You know, like, it's all me, you know, like, it's because it's him, man. He's the heir to the Empire. They hop on Howler back and they ride away. They see Hu Yang clearly is left with the ship, so you know the ship's going to come back. It just felt a little like you knew where it was heading, but at the same time you didn't, because there was some things you didn't see happening, but also you could have seen happening, you know what I mean? Like, it wasn't so far out of the woods that you were like, oh, I didn't see that coming, but it was like, out of the things that could have happened this episode, it was like one of the possibilities, you know what I mean? Like, we all had like 3 or 4 ideas of where this was going, and this happened to be like almost one of them, you know what I mean? Like, there's some things that you couldn't have predicted, but things that you could have, right? Like, I didn't predict BAYLEN, you know, in that ending, but like, I kind of saw it coming. You know, I wish we did get more with him and Shin and what's the deal, but you know, honestly, if Dave Filoni comes out today and goes, there's a season 2 on its way, I'll be happy as shit, you know, like, whether they have to recast BAYLEN or not, you know, if they do have to recast maybe a Gerard Butler, but I don't know, I think Ray Stevenson really brought a lot to this role, so whoever they're going to have to get is going to have to, it's going to be a big pair of shoes to fill. But they hop on the back of the Howlers, they ride away. Hu Yang's like, may the force be with you, and Sabine throws on her helmet, so you're like, oh, she got her helmet back, cool. So she's on one Howler, Ezra's behind her, Ahsoka's on the other Howler, and Thrawn just goes, rain hellfire. So they start shooting everywhere, but of course they're Jedi, so they get missed, and they're just kind of weaving and bobbing in and out. I thought maybe there could have been more stakes in this episode, you know, a little bit more like, oh no, the Howler died. This is going to be harder than just riding in the front door, because that's pretty much what they do. You know, they use the Force. As Sabine, you too. You know, and it kind of felt like 2 Jedi and this little trainee was helping, you know, like, you know, but then, you know, I think Sabine's getting there. She's getting there. Not quite there at this point, but she's getting there. But they force open the door. Three Jedi wipe out Thrawn's troops. Thrawn's troops come in, and it's a nice battle between, you know, like, you get to see all of them fighting and wielding lightsabers. All of a sudden, you know, it's Ahsoka with her 2, Ezra with his 1, Amon Esfandi, I think, was so excited to get to do some action with his lightsaber. You know, he had some great moments wielding his lightsaber. Ahsoka had some great moments. But it's funny that, you know, she's wielding the lightsaber, Sabine, and then she goes, Sabine, blasters, you know, and I think it was more like a range thing, because she wasn't maybe as good at reflecting blaster bolts, but she's better at shooting. And she also has armor, so if she gets hit, she kind of just bounces and then keeps going. But they wipe out the troops, and then they become zombies, which I think all of us predicted, but we didn't know how it was going to come to be. But we knew that the Night Mothers could reincarnate the dead bodies to make armies, so maybe that's what happens on Thrawn's ship. We see all those cargo bit things packed into the Chimera, so maybe they're heading back to Dathomir to raise an army of the dead. Maybe that's where Thrawn's going, because we do see him leave the galaxy and arrive on Dathomir, which I thought was awesome. Going back to Dathomir, maybe the Zepho in season 2, maybe we get a Cal Kestis in season 2, who knows. But I thought it was really cool that, you know, we know the last Jedi Mandalorian was Paz Vizsla, or whatever Vizsla, and just to see Sabine, a Mandalorian, wielding a lightsaber is just kind of cool. You know, I thought maybe it was going to be Din Djarin with the Darksaber, but the Darksaber's gone, so this is like a real Jedi being a Mandalorian, but also being a Jedi, you know, I think is awesome. So the Night Mothers wake up the troops, then they get kind of backed up a hallway. That was an interesting little fight. They seal the doors, they take off in another direction. Ahsoka then needs to fight, well, they come in 3-on-1 against Morgan Elsbeth and now the Fireblade, but Ahsoka goes, you two go. She'll handle this. So she's one-on-one round 2 with Morgan Elsbeth, but now Morgan Elsbeth's got a Fireblade of Mother Talzin, and she's got Night Sister magic or powers, or whatever you want to call it. and they have a little one-on-one battle. And Sabine and Ezra take off and go try and get on the ship. The ship's flying away, so they need to get force pushed onto the ship. And Ezra jumps, and Sabine uses the force, pushes him up, you know, and it's epic, because you're like, oh my god, was she really gonna do it? I thought for sure, honestly, Ezra's running, I thought he kind of force jumped himself, but needed a little extra boost from Sabine. I thought he was just gonna fall to the planet and die. I really did. For a second I was like, oh, she's not gonna be able to do it, he's just gonna you know, and fall off the edge. But she does do it. We see Ezra get on the ship. He goes over to the guy, takes his little, he hears 757, we have backup incoming, and he goes 757 copy, you know. And just like in Rebels, he's taking suits from a stormtrooper and he's blending in plain sight. He's very good at it. I thought Sabine, other than using the Force with Ezra, Sabine, where they're fighting those two troopers and his face is like, I couldn't tell if that was like just the race of species he was, or if that was the zombie version of him, was like kind of chomping at her and like had her by the throat, and she had to use the Force or die type of moment. She Force pulls up and ignites the blade right next to his head, and you see the green lightsaber go through his head, but you see it like light up the eyes with the helmet. Oh man, it was a good little headshot kill. And then Ezra kind of does the same thing. Sabine shoots with the blasters, Ezra grabs his blade, but the Force swipes, lops off a head. That was pretty good, you know. I like to see more violence in Star Wars, you know. It feels like for people wielding lightsabers that can cut people in half, there's not enough severed limbs and people cut in half. Like, you should be able to just and just two people that are now 4 parts, you know what I'm saying? Like, there should be more violence. Let's rated R Star Wars. Let's go. So more troops come in while Ahsoka's fighting Morgan. So Morgan and Ahsoka, Morgan's kind of standing there letting the troops do the thing. Ahsoka's kind of got to go. And then Ezra's yelling to Sabine, Sabine, come on, before you can't make it. And you see Sabine turn around and run. Why she did that? Maybe it was just to fake us out. But we thought Sabine leaves Ahsoka. Ahsoka now fights off the troops, and she's got blaster bolts coming in, but she also got Morgan Elsmith coming in with the fire blade. So Ahsoka probably would have been done for, really. But Sabine comes back, and you know, just the same way that Ahsoka said she would be there for her and stand by her side, like Anakin, Sabine's there for her master and comes back, and she uses blaster bolts and shoots and use the lightsaber. She's kind of like using the one blaster and the lightsaber, kind of like Cal Kestis in this Jedi Survivor game. It's kind of great. Pew, boom, boom, pew, 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 pew. One of my favorites to use in that game, to be honest. It's kind of OP. You know, hold down triangle, fucking charge shot, poof. Good shit, that's what I'm talking about. So Ahsoka loses a lightsaber battling Morgan Elsmith. So now she's no longer dual wielding. You know, we see her blade chopped in half. And then I thought the kill on Morgan Elsmith, right? Like, the only people to die in this series were the troops that got reincarnated, resurrected, that's the word I was looking for. And then Morgan Elsmith is the only other person that really dies. I'm trying to think, like, who actually dies in this series. Nobody. I thought it should have had more stakes, more people, more, you know, it should have felt like if they don't get off this planet, they're going to die. But instead, they kind of get stranded on Peridia, and they're like, yeah, we'll figure it out. You know, like, it'll be okay. Where I would have been like, that was our only way fucking home. What the fuck? You know, but we already know that the Purgle could come back and then hitch a ride. Like, we know they're not stranded, but Ahsoka bests Morgan, and Morgan gets Ahsoka, grabs her knife blade, hits her with her own blade, and then, you know, just how, because Ahsoka's a dual wielder, so even though she lost the lightsaber, she pretty much takes the blade, you know, with one of her moves, slice, and gets a double gut shot. Once again, more violence. You could have seen her sliced in half, but instead she just gets hit and then kind of just peels over and dies. But like, that whole fight was pretty epic, pretty awesome stuff, but it didn't feel like the finale fight. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't think the finale should have been Morgan and her. The finale should have been like Thrawn face to face or something. Instead, we just get him talking shit over the fucking loudspeaker. because Ahsoka goes to Sabine, you want to get out of here? And then who's there to save the day? Obviously Hu Yang's fixed the ship by now. They put all the power into the engines. They're trying to fly to get on to the Chimera in the ring and go back to the planet. But there's Thrawn talking shit. I will not be playing games with the apprentice of Anakin Skywalker. Long live the Empire. And they kind of blast off. I was like, that was pretty much Hail Hitler, peace. You know, like, yeah, that was pretty much just long live the Empire, Sakaya, and they blast off into fucking the next galaxy. I was like, at least Ezra's on the ship and he gets to go back. But what the fuck? Ahsoka, Sabine, Shin, Baylen, they're just on the planet. We don't really get what their story is. But I like that Thrawn called Ahsoka a Ronin. This is a proper place to leave a Ronin like yourself. You know, so and a Ronin to me is like, you know, a blade wielding samurai type of thing. So if he just got the blade from or she just got the blade from Morgan L. Smith, it's not L's Smith, it's L's Beth, but whatever, from Morgan. I think we could see Ahsoka season 2 wielding one lightsaber in the knife of the blade of Mother Talzin. Will it, you know, be green flame? I don't know, because Ahsoka's not a Night Sister, but still, one samurai blade with a lightsaber dual wielding, that could be cool to see. But we also know that Hu Yang's got lightsabers being able to be built on the ship, so maybe she'll just build herself another one. But they don't make it, so Thrawn leaves without them. They have to go back down to the planet. Ahsoka sees her owl, and her owl, for people that don't know, that, you know, people that haven't seen Rebels or Clone Wars, they probably just were like, what the hell was that? I have no idea. That owl is a part of the Mortis arc, and that whole, you know, long story short from Clone Wars and Rebels is the daughter, the brother, and the father. The daughter ends up dying and sacrificing herself to save Ahsoka as a little girl. So I think the spirit of the daughter, and we always see the owl with the daughter, the spirit of the daughter lives in Ahsoka. The daughter in a different form and more of her, you know, astral light form. She's like the good side. The son was all dark side. The father was the balance in between, right? So that's the light, dark, and the balance. That's where that comes from. But Morai, the owl, we see in the show, and that's like a little nod for us Rebels and Clone Wars fans. We were like, oh shit, the owl, what the fuck? So is the daughter here on the planet? What's the deal? Why did the owl show up just now, like after Thrawn's gone? So maybe Ahsoka's supposed to be here on this planet. We don't know. But we see Shin go to her, the red troop samurai looking guys, and just kind of holds up her lightsaber like, rally on me, or like, will you accept me? I don't know. But we see that she's not with Baylen. Ray Stevenson, rest in goddamn peace, you legend. I've really honestly loved him and Shin all season together, but I really could have used a little bit more of them. I wouldn't have been mad with more of them, to be perfectly honest. But we see the gods of Mortis, right? So just as I was describing, the father's in the middle. We see Baylen standing on his hand, which is 3 knuckles and a finger, so it's pointing somewhere. We see the son, his left, our right. He's, you know, in the mountain over there. And then it seems like there's, on the left, there's a passage between the father and the mountain, but it also looks like the daughter, her head's lopped off. So did it get broken on purpose? Did natural elements make it fall off? What happened? Why is the daughter, did the daughter's spirit go, fuck you, I don't want to be a part of this mural anymore? But we see this mural all the time with the 3 of them, with the gods of Mortis, with the hand and the fist and the hands, right? So this image is from Rebels, and they were also had to do with the world between worlds, and Anakin was the father or the son. I don't know. But the son, it's very confusing, but it's also super cool. But we see Ray Stevenson's Baylen standing on the hand of the father. So is Baylen the father? Like, how did he get this wolf carcass that he's now wearing on his back? I don't know, but what is he looking at? Is that like some beacon? Like, what is the hand pointing to? Why is there Mortis gods on Peridia? What is the thing that Baylen was feeling or sensing? Like, I gotta know. I have to know. What is this this thing, like, and maybe I think this was a maybe alternate ending with Ray Stevenson, and they had him standing there. Maybe there was a whole nother story, and they kind of were like, we don't want to kill off BAYLEN like that when it's Ray's last performance. So maybe this is the last time we ever see Ray Stevenson in a project. Like, if that's the case, I wouldn't be mad. He did a fantastic job. But BAYLEN, the character, it's so interesting to me now that, like, he did such a good job that now I want to know more about what he felt. What's his deal? I want to know more about him as a younger character. I want to know more of him about it as this older character. I want to know how he got there. Like, who is Shin to him? Like, we don't know. So many questions that we didn't get answers to, that I felt like a little bit of dialogue and we could have got those answers, and it wouldn't have been that, you know, devastating to the story. But, you know, seeing the sun in that statue, very interesting, considering the sun, you know, is the dark side of the Force. And, you know, maybe the three people are, I would say Anakin's the son, maybe Baylan's the father, the balance in the middle, and then obviously Ahsoka's the daughter, which is already kind of a thing. But maybe those are your three gods of Mortis now, and they're reincarnated in different bodies. I don't know. But then we get Ezra goes back on a shuttle to Hera. At first, they walk up, they see a guy in trooper costumes. They point guns at him. He takes off. Chop goes, wait a second. I recognize that smell from anywhere. What's that walk? Wait, hello? Who are you? And then, you know, Ezra takes off his helmet, and Hera, with her wide-eyed green contacts, you know, it just feels like she's constantly just not able to blink. But she goes, Ezra? And he's like, hi, Hera. You know, like, Hera was practically a mom to him. Like, she should have been like, my baby, you know, ran up and hugged him, or, you know, more smiles. Like, I get it, you're in shock that he's back, and you don't know what happened after they left, but, you know, we kind of just end on this shot here with the ghost, and you got Chopper with Ezra and her, but, like, we cut away before they get to each other. So it's like, maybe they hugged, but they leave that off screen. I was like, I want to see them run up to each other, hug, embrace. Where have you been? Tell me what's going on. To, like, fill her in. Like, I get that they're just trying to insinuate that happens off screen, but why does it have to happen off screen? And then we go back to Ahsoka, and Ahsoka and Sabine are heading into the Noti's little camp, and with Hu Yang and Ahsoka's ship, and they just kind of both sense something. Sabine senses something, didn't see anything, and then turns around and starts walking away. And then Ahsoka goes and looks and kind of smiles, and then turns and walks away. But what, you know, we kind of see what they're looking at when they're looking, and there's nothing there. And then all of a sudden they walk away and they pull back, and we get an over-the-shoulder shot of who is this ghost, this Force ghost figure. It's the Force ghost of Anakin, standing there kind of like always by Ahsoka's side, like she said, always watching out for her. And, you know, Hayden Christensen, probably the MVP of this first season, and I honestly want a second season. I want more. I hope maybe there's more stuff shot with Ray Stevenson. Like, maybe there's an episode or two of season 2 that they already had shot, that they were trying to force into season 1 and didn't. So, you know, I have hopes that, you know, I don't think it's realistic, but I have hopes that there's more of Ray Stevenson and BAYLEN. But if not, you have to recast. I think the character's so interesting. I do not envy that character, or that actor that has to step into that character's shoes that Ray Stevenson leaves. Like, oof, tough ideas to even comprehend. But I loved this episode, and I loved this series. I still think Andor is a little bit better. No, I think Ahsoka is better. A better first season. It's not as long as Andor. I thought Andor, having those extra couple episodes and more dialogue and less lightsabers and less Jedi and less gods of Mortis and less Thrawn, you know, like, it just was Andor. Like, having more stuff like that would be cool. And, you know, just expanding the Star Wars universe to me is epic. I love it. I can't wait for now Loki season 2. You know, we're stepping out of Disney Star Wars and we're stepping into Disney Marvel. So I'm really here for it. I'm here if they go straight to a movie. I honestly don't think I'm sold yet. I think it wasn't, you know, there's too many questions left open at the end of the season that I think can be explored in a season 2. And if they went straight to a movie, it doesn't, you know, I don't think I'm sold on a Thrawn movie yet. Although I do love Thrawn, the character, and I love the guy, Lars Mikkelsen, voicing the character and playing the character. I think he's menacing. I think he's great. But I think I need some more. Give me some more juicy details. Give me some more dialogue. Give me some more scenes. Like I want to live with these characters some more. And these 42-minute episodes, make them an hour. Why does they got to be 42? Make them an hour. Give us extra details. Give us extra lines. Give us it. Like it's what we want. It's not too much. It wasn't too little, necessarily. It gave us enough to want more. But I think they could have gave us more, and we still would have wanted more, wanted even more. You know what I'm saying? Like, it could have elevated us wanting more Star Wars. But instead, we're kind of like, all right, confused, liked it. You know, there's people that probably feel mixed ways at it. But I would love to hear from you. Comment below. How do you feel about this episode of Ahsoka, the season finale? And are you excited for Loki season 2 right around the corner? You can comment in the comment section below or at me on my other social medias. Links down in the description below. Check out my Letterboxd. I got more movie reviews coming to the channel ASAP. I think War 4 of the Planet of the Apes is coming out tomorrow. And we got Loki on Thursday, and then another video on Friday. We'll be talking about Loki season 2 episode 1. So stay tuned for that. And this is another episode of Comically Boston. If you want to write in your thoughts or questions or ask me anything, personal questions or whatever, you want to talk to me, you can email me comicallyboston@gmail.com, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.